All right, so we're going to construct a line that's perpendicular to a line and goes through a point not on the line. So I'll draw a line that goes through this point P that intersects line M as a perpendicular or at a right angle. So first step, we're going to place our compass at point P. And we're going to draw an arc that's going to intersect this line M in two places. Right, so it doesn't matter how far we open up our compass, as long as we're able to hit this line in two locations. Right, so we'll go just a little bit slower. So make an arc, we hit it in two places, and it wants us to label those as A and B. And then we're going to draw an arc with center A. So in this case, we want to make sure that we're open past half the distance between A and B, which looks like we're more than halfway. So go ahead and make a mark out here. And then with the same radius, I'm going to come over and put the point at B. And make another arc that intersects that one. So this is kind of like what we did when we found the angle bisector. Right? You make an arc on the angle, and then you go to each intersection, make an arc out in the middle. And once we've got that arc, so let's call that Q. And once we're there, we line up P and Q. And draw in our line. So this line here going from P to Q should be perpendicular. That means that this will be a right angle right here. Questions on that one? Start at the point, make an arc that hits both sides, hits the line in two places, then go to each one of those intersections, make an arc out in the middle so that they cross, and then connect the intersection with the point. Alright, so then the next one, this is one of the more complicated options of a construction here. Constructing a line that passes through a point and is parallel to another line. So we want to make a line that's going to go through point P that's going to end up being parallel to line M. And so first thing it says is to draw points Q and R on point M, and it doesn't matter where you draw them. These are just reference points. I got Q and R on there. And then it wants me to draw in PQ, or in other words, make a line segment that is going through points P and Q. It's not working. So I'm going to take that line up a little ways past point P when I draw it in there. Alright, so now I'm going to draw an arc with the compass point at Q so that it crosses QP and QR. And really and truly what we're about to do here is basically the process of copying an angle. So what we did yesterday when we copied an angle, we're basically going through that same process here. So we're putting the point at Q. We're going to make an arc that crosses both sides of that angle. And then we're going to go through the copying an angle process. So I'm going to go up here to P. Now, you know, usually on copying an angle, your first step is to draw a line. So technically this line that we drew from Q to P and extended past, we're counting that like it was the line that we just drew for the first step of copying an angle. So we got our point at P. And we're going to draw an arc from that line on down, making it big enough that when we copy this angle, this arc is bigger than the arc we drew first. And then we want to measure how far it is from this intersection to this intersection. All right, so yeah. Put my point at that intersection. Pencil side. Open up the width of that intersection. So that's how wide it is. So then I come up here, put the point at the intersection of the other arc and the line QP. And mark off that distance. And lastly, line up my straight edge with point P and that intersection out there. And there we have a line that's parallel right here. Call that PS. So we got PS and QR. And so when we look at it, angle PQR, and up here angle TPS. Those two angles should be the same because they're corresponding angles, right? And the lines are parallel. And it should look like the lines are parallel. If you draw this and it's definitely not a parallel line, then try it again. Right? It should look pretty close to parallel. If it looks like they're getting closer to each other, then something's off.